it all. I can have it all.
Hello, this is Christy Whitman with the Quantum Success Show, where you can get your information and inspiration to create your desires. And as you can see, I have a very beautiful goddess friend with me. This is Ellie Drake. She is actually an expert in teaching ease of purpose from a psychological, emotional, and even entrepreneurial perspective. As a doctor, visionary, and prosperity creator, she's passionate about applying her expanding insight to living in her potential. So blossoming into my essence is at the core of my purpose. All else overflows from there, she says. Ellie's also the originator and active member of the Braveheart Women global community, where many visionaries from around the world are in true, authentic collaboration. You can meet her at braveheartwomen.com, and we'll also have a link underneath the video. So welcome, Ellie.
Thank you so much, Christy.
I'm so excited to have you here. I remember the first time I met you, it was on your show, Braveheart Women, and it's one of my media giggles that I still think about because we were all on a panel. Yeah. And Carol Tuttle was talking about, the different personality types, and she was saying that I was striking, and I was like, oh, I'm striking, and you're like, and you just became a double D, because I was just like, it was so funny for me.
Did I say that?
It was such a giggle for me, so every time I think about it, it makes me laugh. So welcome. I'm so excited that you're here on my show now.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So what has been the biggest shift that you've experienced on your journey so far?
Yeah, my goodness, so many shifts, right? And and it's interesting because when I first started on this path, I actually never knew that it was going to require these many authentic shifts from me. And I mean authentic because maybe 10 years ago, I would kind of shift on the first 5 top layers, but not really shift what was residue at the bottom core level. And it's this path, and I mean, the path where, for those of us who are really connected to becoming more of who we are and to emanating and overflowing that, into our communities and the world. For those of us who are authentically connected with that, it's going to require that we take a look at all the things that are inside of us that are no longer relevant to who we are. Absolutely. And it's not easy. However, it can be embraced with ease once we realize that it's for our own highest and best good. So the biggest shift has been me realizing that.
I agree, and I'm glad you're saying this, because for everybody that's watching the show is they're obviously very connected with that, and they realize that in order to be able to work with universal laws and really become a deliberate creator and take responsibility for not only the good that manifests, but the bad that manifests, or the stuff that's just not showing up, it's an internal job. They have to be doing those internal shifts because everything is energy. And that you think that, oh, it's just this one shift and then forever my life is going to be this perfect thing. It's a path, it's a journey, and it's a constant involvement. I mean, I've been doing this work for 18 years, and I'm constantly doing my inner work. I feel like that's my biggest job, is doing inner work, and then the outer work of what I take action on the world or the teaching that I do. But I'm always working on myself and always up-leveling, to get to my next level of even joy, for example. What's in the way of me connecting to a deeper, more expanded space of joy? So I'm really happy that you're mentioning that, because it's not just a, good,
And I can really feel that within you, actually, Christy. I can actually feel that, your energy is very luminous on the inside right now, that there is a glow that is, kind of being expressed through you, that you are very authentic in wanting to take a look at, the next crack or gap that's internal and releasing stale energy around it. Since the last time I saw you, I feel like your vibration is stronger and you even look younger. And all of that is yes, there goes a double D. And all of that is an organic result of authentically allowing ourselves to grow and evolve.
Absolutely. And thank you for mirroring that back to me because it is very true. I am, I'm always evolving. So I think it was 4 years ago, 3.5 years ago. So I am vibrationally so different than I was then because I'm always,
I know what you mean.
yes, I know you know what I
Yes.
mean.
Yeah. And it's so interesting because people, who have kind of, seen me several years ago and at an event, let's say, who see me now, the common theme is, Ellie, you've changed so much. What's the one thing? And it's like, believe me, there isn't one thing, there is
Yeah.
just one petal after another. And how I can express it right now, which in fact is a part of that big shift that you were asking, is that my heart has always been in the right space or in the right place, as we always say, and yet it hasn't been vibrationally this open ever. And it's not like I didn't want it to be this open. It's not like I wasn't a nice person. None of that. It's that physiologically and emotionally, there was basically blocks in the way. So although my heart's been in the right place and space, and I've always come from as much integrity as I knew how in that moment, it wasn't as open as it is today. And how that feels for me right now is that I just feel this sense of vulnerable love, where, there is no defensiveness and there is no shield that's integrated into the formula, or any strands of this empowerment that are in the formula. There is this just, wonderful, kind of juicy, overflowing sense of vulnerable love that I feel in my heart. And I really feel like that happened when I got into a space where a tipping point of shifting had occurred. Like, oh, one petal opened, another petal opened, and then, petals opened up throughout several years. And all of a sudden it was like, woo, that's what we're doing. Our new imprint is to continuously and sometimes even spontaneously evolve.
Yes.
And so that just opens up the heart gateway, opens up the heart gateway, opens up the heart gateway. And out of that comes, this ability to quantum leap into the next level.
Well, something you said which really touched me is that when I first met you, and it was several years ago, I mean, you were very, very beautiful, very powerful, very confident, but there is more of a softness to you now than even then. And Evelyn Apostolou, who's my lead trainer with the QSEA, she's just one of my favorite people on the planet. It's like angels walk among us. I love her. She said to me years ago, she goes, you know what? It's when you're your most vulnerable, when you allow yourself to really be vulnerable and show that vulnerability, that you are so beautiful. And so there's I feel like more connected to you, and you're more accessible. And it's funny because most women that are powerful, successful women, that word vulnerability is almost associated with some kind of weakness.
Correct.
When it's so different, because I have been so much more vulnerable. I'm more vulnerable to my children, to my kids, to my community, which I call my family. There is more of a, here's my heart, and here's where I am. And there is more connectivity that way, and it's not a weakness. And I think that's a huge paradigm shift for women, especially powerful, successful women.
Correct.
That vulnerability does not mean weakness.
That's exactly right. And several years ago, as you said, like there's a softer feeling that I feel within myself as well, which I don't associate with softer in any way, like you said, weak or jello. And there is a lot of oomph in who I feel I am. And yet I feel a tenderness, a connection within myself. And when I actually tune into like, a few million petals ago, a few years ago, and I feel like you're right, that a little bit more rigidness, that's coming from trying to be more confident is related. For me, it was fear-based. Basically, I had more fear inside of me. And so what does one do when they have fear inside of them is they actually put on a little bit more of a kind of a, rigid, stronger, more assertive. And now I realize, whew, that was working so hard. And this is not to judge any of our past levels, this is to embrace, all of us, and also yet allow ourselves to know the beauty of this next level of tenderness where the fears are released and defensive shields can come down, and we can be in such potent inner power and yet tender and, wonderful.
Yeah, I just love that because it is exhausting, and I agree that's something that I've really been letting go of a lot this past year is fear, and replacing the space of love and the essence that I want to feel, and getting rid of just the layers of fear and the programming of fear, and the energy I took on from my mom of being in that space of fear, because we're raised in the environment that we're in, and so it's like she felt fear, so that was like I took on her fear, and it's like that's not mine to hold anymore, but it's this guardedness, and it's exhausting. So it's
Very
like
much.
when you put that down and you just come from essence, it's like, it feels so good.
Yes. Yes.
So speaking of that, obviously, we get to raise into a higher vibration too when that happens. So
Yeah.
I would love for you to talk about like what are the vibrations and the essence that you're now opening up to, and how are you doing that so that everybody can get an idea of what they can do also to kind of release that fear and raise up into a higher vibration.
Fantastic. Yeah. So when I tune in, and words are words, and they do their best to express the vastness of what it is we're feeling. So the two words that express to their possible capacity what I am feeling at the moment vibrationally within myself are connection and passion. So the word connection for me actually feels like literally this waterfall of pearls that's coming from above, wherever you and our audience decides that it comes from, and so just coming from above, and it's cosmic energy, and it comes to the top of the head, and it wants to get downloaded into the rest of the body, and that's where we receive our feeling of connection and clarity. So what happens, however, is that when we are in a space where we have a lot of stale energy, a lot of buts, like I want to, but I would allow it, but, when we have a lot of buts in our mental and visceral field, this download energy cannot come in, and therefore we don't feel as connected. And then there is this earth energy, from the magnetic field of the earth, from the core of gravity itself, that wants to get uploaded up through the feet into the rest of the body. And this vibration expresses the word passion. So passion. And this energy wants to come up. And yet again, when we are in a space where we have all those buts, but how long is it going to take? But I want to resist divine timing because I want my own willpower to take over, but I'm not willing to surrender. All those things gets in the way of the upload energy. So then when we're living in our butts, right, we're not downloading and we're not uploading, which means we're not receiving clarity and connection, and we are not able to access passion and courage. So then we go around going, if I only knew what my purpose was, or if I only had some more clarity, or I don't have enough energy, what we're really saying is I don't have access to connection and passion. And the true answer then would be, well, where am I not letting go of strands of disempowerment inside of me? And therefore, those residual blocks and the stale energy getting in the way of download and upload.
I love that.
Yeah, that's what empowerment is. Everybody say, what's empowerment? Well, empowerment is releasing strands of disempowerment.
And staying connected with yourself. And I love that you're using both the earth energy, because we are physical beings in this physical universe. So it's like you're channeling the earth energy, which is such a strong vibrational energy coming up through your physical apparatus. And then also the cosmic energy, because we're also spiritual beings. And it's like that's the beautiful connection point between the two, between the physical and the non-physical of who we really are anyway. So that's beautiful. And I'm glad that you were able to give that tip and that process, if you will, because everybody can do that right now and start doing that on a regular basis. So I just welcome everybody that's watching, to take Ellie's like process of connecting with the essence and feeling of passion and the earth energy, and start feeling and connecting with that energy and bringing it up through your body. And then also that cosmic energy, almost like a waterfall of, I love what you said, pearls,
Yes.
coming down and really mixing that energy of both inside your being, and seeing and feeling and sensing how that literally raises your vibration. So you're amazing. I know you're just a wealth of information. We could do like 10 hours of a show with you. And I appreciate the impact that you make in the world. I know specifically you work with women, and you are, just amazing with women's issues and, things that block women and women's topics, and you're truly a feminine visionary. So I so appreciate your friendship and the fact that I know you, and that we can collaborate together, and that you can share your wisdom with everybody in my family. So I know you have a gift, so I'm going to put it down at the below the video. You can click on there and get to know Ellie a little bit more and find out more of her juicy processes. So Ellie Drake, thank you so much for being on the show. Appreciate you being here. So
thank you so much, Christy, and I really appreciate who you are becoming and all that you're creating. And I ripple potent, high vibrational, collaborative energy your way, and hold this space for you to create all that you desire.
Thank you. And back at you.
Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you, everybody, for watching. Please go ahead and leave us a comment. How did this do the process? See how that affected you. I'm sure Ellie will kind of comment as well. And if you have any questions or anything, of course, post those as well. So thank you so much for watching the Quantum Success Show. Bye.